All right, boys and girls, I am going to show you how to set the parameters on your fans. All right. So, and I'm going to show you something else. So, when you're wiring up a sniper system, any Holley system, Holley sniper system, EFI, Sniper 2, Terminator X, whatever. Okay, it says, I just figured I'd go live and I'm gonna try to stay on topic and not get sidetracked. So it says in the instructions, right here, B, the pink wire, switch to a 12-volt ignition, must remain powered during cranking. Let me tell you what's gonna happen. If you take that pink wire on a Sniper 2 system or the red and white wire on the Terminator X system and you put it to a 12-volt key source, let's say you put it to this pin right here in your fuse box and it's 12-volt key source, and you turn this thing on and you go through everything and you go to set up your sniper system and you go through this system at the back, you go through the steps, Step 1, select the wizard. Step 2, select sniper wizard. Step 3, select your sniper system. Step 3, number of cylinders, 8. Then if you go to, and then you select the engine displacement, next. Then you do the idle speed. I don't know what happened. Then you go to the idle speed next. And then you go to select your cam, stock, street, race. Then you go to turbo, non-turbo, supercharged. Then you go to your ignition system. And then you go to the next step, and then the next step. And then it says after this, sensor verification. And then right here it says, we're going to do it again. I've already done it, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to show you. Right here on page 15, it says, before starting a vehicle, verify that all sensors are reading properly. Once the ignition has been cycled, after running the calibration of the wizard, you should hear the fuel pump come on and run for 5 seconds. Fuel prime occurs 2.5 seconds after the key is on, which is the amount of time it takes for the touchscreen to load. If you quickly turn the ignition key without waiting the full 2.5 seconds, the prime will not occur and the engine will not start. Okay? So let me show you that right here and right now. All right? Let me show you how to do this. It's real simple, right? Now, this pink wire, back to the pink wire. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you don't listen, you're going to be on Holley's damn tech. You're going to call Holley, and you're going to be on the daggone phone with days trying to figure out, and you're going to be mad as hell that your stuff don't work. And the reason why your stuff don't work is because you're not paying attention. Right here it says, pink wire to a 12-volt positive source must remain powered during cranking. What it does not tell you is you have to put that on a relay. Well, it don't say that in instructions. I know it don't say it in instructions. They need to update their instructions. Even Blake at Holley says they need to update their instructions. I am telling you right now, pay attention. Pay attention. What happens is, if you put that 12 volt, if you put that pink wire to a 12 volt key source, when you go to turn this ignition on in your car and you have 12 volt, it says 12 volt ignition, and then you go to cycle this thing off, you still have residual voltage on that pin, and it will wipe the tune out every single time, and your fuel pump will not come on. I promise you. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Go ahead, ask me, I'll wait. Because after hours of tech support and finally getting a hold of somebody at Holley telling me that if it has a residual voltage, it will wipe the tune out from your Holley system because it is finicky. And when I say finicky, I'm talking 0.0012 volts. It will wipe it out. So what you need to do is do this. Take that pink wire in the Holley Sniper 2 system or the red and white wire in the Terminator X system and wire it up to a relay, okay? Wire it up to a 4-pin relay, right? You know how to wire up a relay, right? So you wire up a relay, okay? And you put the pink wire, which is the wire for the Holley system, the pink wire, this wire right here, you put this pink wire, right? You put this pink wire on the activator wire for the relay, okay? Then you put the other wire to a 12-volt key source, which is right there, 12-volt key source, all right? Then you hook up your relay to a 12-volt battery, 12-volt. Then you hook your ground up to a ground. This ground goes to the battery. This goes to the battery. So now, when I go to turn this key on, the key, 12-volt source on the key, is activating the relay. The relay closes its gap, you know, which closes this gap. Therefore, once it closes the gap, it energizes the other wire. That wire runs up to the pink wire. Therefore, the Terminator or the Sniper 2 system is activated. Once the stuff is activated, you're good to go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the setup, and I'm going to show you how easy this is if you do that right there. If you do not hook up your red and white wire in your Terminator X Max system or your pink wire up to a relay 12-volt, you will have problems, and you will be madder than a wet hen dipped in a damn bucket of water. I'm telling you, pay attention. All right, all the systems on, right? Everything is on, right? Everything is on. You go right here to your wizard. We go to wizard, right? You go to wizard setup, okay? You go to Sniper 2 setup. All right, right here. 8 cylinders. Right here, engine displacement. If you'll double click it, it comes up to a keyboard. It has a little pen, but a stylus, but I don't like to use it. Hit clear. It is a 350. Hit save. That's it, right? Hit next. Target idle speed. Double click. We're going to go 1100. Idle speed. Save. You can adjust this later. We're going to go 1100. Save. All right, and you hit next, okay? Now, stock and mild, street and race, or street and strip or race. All right, if you go to the book, it tells you, now this system is a self-learning system, all right? Right here, it says stock and mild, this selection will work on most applications equipped with a stock or street performance camshaft. Choose stock and mild if you're unsure of your cam specs. Street and strip, select this in between. If you have a cam that is pulling 8 to 13 inches of manifold vacuum. If you have a street and strip cam that's pulling 8 to 13 inch-pounds of vacuum, you need to select that one. If you have a race one, you need to click, that's 7 inch-pounds of vacuum, less than 7. You need to click race, right? We don't have that. We're going to hit street and strip, right? We're going to hit street and strip. All right, once you hit street and strip, you hit next. All right, we do not have a turbo. We do not have a supercharger, so we hit next. All right, we're running a coil because we're running an HEI-style distributor, right? We're not running a CDI box. We're not running a magnetic distributor. We're not running a Holley dual sync distributor, and we're not running HyperSpark. So we're running a coil, so you hit next. Bam, you see that right there? This is the initial tune that Holley has put into this program software. Now watch what happens. Once you get this screen right here, you hit start. Now look at there. That right there is loading your tune. Now, what does it say? It says, please cycle the ignition to complete the operation, right? You do what it says, right? You hit OK. Operation is complete. You hit finish. Now, this is what you do. You turn the key off and you wait 10 seconds. If we did everything correctly, if you did everything correctly, what will happen when we turn this key back on, in 2.5 seconds, this monitor will come on. Once this monitor comes on, that is enough time for the computer, which is in there, right there, will send a signal through here, through the relay, over to the fuel pump, and my fuel pump will come on and prime. So now we're going to turn the key on and we're going to listen. Fuel pump just come on, it primed, everything's good to go. Now, so we're good to go. Now, if I had fuel, I could hit the key and this son of a gun would crank. But we got a few more things we have to do. We have to go and set our monitor system, right? So we go to monitoring, we go to monitors, and then we go down to sensors. Click sensors. That shows us everything, right? We got voltage. It shows us that it's 90 degrees in here. So that's all that. So everything's good. Everything checks out. TPS is throttle position sensor. If I reach up here and grab the throttle, you see that? My throttle is working. So everything is good. Everything checks out. So we're going to back up, right? And we're going to back up again. We're going to back up again. And now we're going to go to tuning. We go to tuning. Now we're going to go to systems. Once we go to systems, we're going to go to outputs. Click outputs. Wow, look at there. There's my fans. There's fan 1 and fan 2, okay? There's fan 1 and fan 2. So right here's my fan 1 and here's my fan 2. I've already wired all this up. This green and black wire is fan 1 from the harness, right? These other harnesses are extra. These other wires are extra add-on options if you want to add them on. The only ones we need in this harness right here is the green and black and the, what is that one? The green one. So we got, or yellow and black. It calls it yellow and black. It's green though. So we got green and black and green. So these are the trigger wires from the sniper system to activate our fans. All right, so we got fan 1, all right? Fan 1. This is the default setting, 260, 259, 260, 259. You have to set the off temperature first because if you try to do the on temperature, it's gonna kick you a flag and it says you can't do that because the parameters are not within specs. And I'm gonna show you. So right here, it says fan 1 on. We're gonna have fan 1 to come on at 175 degrees. See what it says? Fan on temperature must be above off temperature. This value violates proper tuning procedures. Please enter an allowed value. Okay, hit cancel. So what that means is you got to do it bass accurate. You got to do off before you can do on. So we're going to go to the off position. We double click it. We hit the clear. We're going to turn the fans off at 170. We're going to turn fan 1 off at 175. Save. All right, save. Bam. Now we go back up. Now we want fan 1 to come on at 180. So double click it, hit clear, 180. Hit save. Bam. Now we have it set up where fan 1 will come on when that sensor right there hits 180 degrees. It's going to trigger a signal all the way through the computer, and it's going to activate this relay through this trigger wire, and that trigger wire is going to activate this cylinder, going to activate this relay. This relay is going to complete the circuit, it's going to complete the ground, and it's going to activate this wire, and if the fans was up here, fan 1 would come on. All right, so that's that. Now let's do fan 2. This thing has a 195 thermostat in it, all right? So we want the fan to come on at least 10 degrees or 15 degrees before the temperature gets to 195. We don't want it to ramp up and already be hot and try to cool it down. So we want to gradually cool it down as it gets to where it gets. All right, so we go down to fan 2. We're going to have fan 2 to cut off at 175 too, because everybody's going to cut off at the same time. Once it hits 175 degrees, and I will adjust this after it gets in the car. I'm just doing this for setup purposes. 175, hit save. Now, we want fan 2 to come on at 195. So hit clear, hit 195 because that's the thermostat. Hit save, bam. Now we're good to go, right? So we got fan 1. It will come on when the sensor hits 180 degrees, fan 1 will come on. Then the fan will stay on until it drops below 175 degrees, right? So this is just for this mock-up. I will change it in the car because you got to understand you'll be driving down the road, you got airflow, you got all this, you got a lot of moving variables. But setting still right here, I'm gonna have a fan in front of this thing, but I want to be able to monitor the temperature, right? I want to be able to keep it right at optimal engine temp, which is like 200 degrees is where it needs to be during the break-in cycle. I need to maintain that temp, okay? All right, so fan 2 will come on at 195. It has a 195 thermostat in it. So when it hits 195 degrees, the thermostat will open and let the water start circulating through the water pump, and it will cool it down because the radiator will be up front. It'll have 2 fans on it, and I'll have a fan sitting in front of it like if we was driving down the highway simulating we running 55, 60 mile an hour down the road. Then fan 2 will come on at 195, and it will run, so you'll have fan 1 on at 180, you'll have fan 2 on at 195, and both fans will be running, pulling cool air through the radiator, and then I'll have a shop fan sitting in front of that simulating us driving down the highway. And then I'll have the throttle locked in at about 2100 RPMs, and I'll run that thing for about 15 minutes until this thing gets up to operating temperature, and then I'll turn the car off. I'll turn it off and I'll let it run. Turn it off and have the key on, and still it'll cool the engine down for 5 minutes, and then I'll shut it down and I'll have the fans on it, keeping air blow on it, and then after it's completely cooled down, I'll do that cycle 3 times. I'll do 3 heat cycles, and that should seat the rings and everything per blueprints instructions on breaking the engine in. So that's how that works. So once you have all your parameters entered into it, you hit back, and then you hit back again. We're not gonna do static timing because we don't need to do nothing about that. We're gonna close that. And now we go to our monitoring system, and then we go to our gauges, and now you can figure out how you want to do your gauges. You can do all this with your gauges. You can set it up for 1, set it up for 2, set it up for 3, or check your vitals. I usually have this screen on right here. So right there, you have fan 1, you have fan 2, you have AC shutdown. You have a coolant temperature sensor, which it says it's 90 degrees. It's pretty warm in here today. You got your ICA position is at 63. Your air fuel mixture is initiated because it's not done anything. The RPM is at stall because the engine's not turning, and it's in a non-learning status, and it's in an open loop because we're not doing anything. The battery voltage is 11.9, and there's the battery voltage. If I was to go to turn it, you can see that it's still in a non-learn situation because it doesn't know what's going on because it doesn't know where it's at. So once I go through the startup process and get it to crank, once we have fuel and it has fuel pressures and the injectors read fuel pressure, then it comes back and it reads back, and then everything's good to go. And when you turn the key off, everything shuts off. So I hope that helps somebody out. And then, like I said, if you don't do the initial setup correctly, the fuel pump will not come on. See, the fuel pump's on. The fuel pump will not come on if you do not have this pink wire that I was telling you, this pink wire hooked up to a relay. So the relay is activating it. So that is how that works. And the reason how I know I found out is because if you followed anything on this truck right here, I went through a pain in the ass to try to figure it out. And there's where I done the relay for the red and white wire on the Terminator X system. The Terminator X Max system, it's the red and white wire. Hook it up to a relay. Do not put it into an ignition voltage. Do not put it in straight voltage because you will not be able to do whatever. Same thing with this one. If I turn the key, you wait 2.5 seconds, the screen comes on. Once the screen comes on, the fuel pump primes, and then you can start this pig up. That is why everybody gets aggravated with these systems, is because they don't understand, and plus they don't understand how electronics work, and two, the instructions are not very detailed, because Holley is doing amendment, because I've been on a Holley Tech page on Facebook, and you do not know how many times that I've seen the questions asked. Every time I turn the key on, my tune is gone. What in the world's going wrong with it? I'm gonna pull this piece of crap out and throw it in the dumpster, and I'm gonna put a carburetor back on here. I never had no issues with a carburetor, and the reason why is because people, when they get out of their comfort zone, they get aggravated. When they get aggravated, they shut down. And when people shut down, they do not want to learn. And when they don't want to learn, you could talk to them like you talk to that friggin' door over there. They're not going to change their mind, because they have shut down. They've completely shut down, and they're not going to take any advice from you, because in their mind, it's junk. I promise you it's not junk. It is very finicky. Holley is very, very, very finicky. I have a Phytech on my 54. It is finicky. You can't even cross wires. Like if you run a spark plug wire like this right here, if you run a spark plug wire and adjacent with the computer, it will shut it down. You have to completely isolate any radio interference with anything on a Phytech. So if I was going to suggest anybody to buy anything, not because I'm a Holley dealer, because Holley is a whole lot simpler to a certain extent. You have to put a relay, a 4-pin relay, on the 12-volt key ignition source. So when, right here in the instructions, when it says right here in the page, and it says it right there, the pink wire, 12-volt switch 12 volt, must remain powered during cranking. If you do not put that on a relay, you will not be able to do a setup, and you'll lose your tune every single time. So I hope that helps somebody out. And these other wires right here are for optional for other stuff, like if we want to do some add-ons. He's already talking about putting Bluetooth on this thing, like right here. So this bundle of wires right here is this right here. So TPS output, black and yellow is for the fan. Light blue is for a programmable output or input. Light green is for another ICA kickdown. The gray is for the tack, and the green and white is for things. So the only ones we're using A through F, we're using B and F. That's the only wires that we're using in that right there. Now, if he goes with a different gauge cluster, like one from New Vintage or something like that, we'll probably have to use a wire like this to tie in to run the tack and stuff like that. So I hope that helps somebody out. I've been on here 25 minutes. I didn't want to keep this thing too long. And if you got any questions, drop it down in the comments after this video post, and I will try to help you out as best I can through text messages or through messages on YouTube. Like I said, there she is. So I really like these relay systems that MSD or Holley's got. I really like these. They make a 4-pin too, a 4-channel. You got a one, and see it has a light. Look. See the light is on. It's saying it's got power. So that's also good too. And the key's off, right? And the key's off. So I appreciate every single one of you. Remember what I said, boys and girls, don't worry about the man up the road or down the road. Sweep off your own front porch and sweeping off anybody else's. With God first, let loose and drag. Peace on chicken grace, I'm out.